Hey everybody, in today's episode, who is Cobb Vanth and why should you care? Also, we've got the latest Disney Plus rumors and more in this episode of Echo Base. Welcome, everybody, to Echo Base and to our new YouTube channel. This is the first of the episodes that we're recording that is actually going to be posted to YouTube. Yay! And I'm sure this is also something we're going to come back to a year from now and look at and say, oh my gosh, can you believe?
That was so lame.
That was so bad. Oh my gosh. But, you know, we got to start somewhere. And that's what we're doing here tonight. I'm Eric. I've got Lou to my right, Tim to my left, and we're going to jump right into the news. The big news of this week is who is Cobb Vanth and why does it matter? Lou, do you know who Cobb Vanth is?
I do not.
Tim, do you know who Cobb Vanth is?
I do.
Okay.
You do.
Lou, I'm going to give you a hint.
Tell us.
He was a major character
No, he
in
wasn't.
in the Aftermath trilogy. And by major character, we mean he had like, what, 3 pages?
Just about.
Yeah. Still not ringing a bell.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I read the Aftermath trilogy, but
Yeah. How much of it do you remember?
not a ton.
Yeah. Wow. We should go back and review that someday, but I just don't care.
Actually, you know, I did start rereading the first book again. I was going to get through the whole series at audiobook because it's easy. I can do it in the car.
Yeah.
But I got bored.
It's the first book was rough to get through. It got better.
Yeah, but it was better the second time through, I thought. I just got bored with it and went on something else, but
Yeah. It was rough. It was, I think they could have taken a lot of that and condensed it down into one really long book. Anyhow, point is, Cobb Vanth is basically, in short, to paraphrase it, he's the guy that ended up with Boba Fett's armor after Return of the Jedi. He was on Tatooine. There's a little bit of a backstory for... Was he a Bothan? No, Robin, he was not. Tim?
I can't control her.
No, Tim, I hold you personally responsible for Robin's Bothan confusion. I think we have an episode title, Robin's Bothan confusion.
I have tried correcting that so many times, but
Wow. Yeah.
she brings it up a lot.
she does.
Right? Yeah. So no, he is the guy. I guess, I don't know if he's from Tatooine or not, but he's there on Tatooine, and there's a kind of a backstory for him that doesn't really go anywhere. So Aftermath had all these little interludes in between the chapters where they would focus on random characters, everything from Jar Jar to Bob Smith or whatever, or in this case, Cobb Vanth.
I like Bob's story. Bob's story was solid.
Bob's is better than Cobb's.
Yeah.
But so Cobb Vanth apparently is the guy who ended up with the Boba Fett armor, and we have no idea what happened to Boba Fett. The only thing we know post Legends is that George Lucas, who no longer controls the content anyway, said that Boba Fett is alive. Like, in his mind, Boba Fett's alive. Officially, that makes it as important as Tim saying that Boba Fett is alive in Tim's mind. But given that he's George Lucas and Lucasfilm still kind of listens to him to some extent.
I think George's opinion means more than Tim's opinion.
Wow.
I think.
Wow.
I think.
And here I thought we were friends.
We are, Tim, but someone's got to bring it back down to earth sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's rough.
So Boba Fett is allegedly still alive. Now, here's why this is important. Rumors are that Tamura Morrison, who played Boba Fett in The Clones, he played Jango Fett in Episode 2, is coming to Mandalorian Season 2. There are only 2 possibilities here, really. Either number 1, he's playing Boba Fett, or number 2, he's playing Rex, or I guess number 3, he's playing both. Now, the reason
I would offer another possibility, and that is he is voicing Boba Fett.
That is also possible, yes. Yeah. So we've got those possibilities. And then also we have this new rumor that Cobb Vanth is going to be appearing in the Boba Fett armor. And that Cobb Vanth is the one that we saw at the end of, I forget which episode it is, the one with Ming-Na Wen in it.
The Gunslinger.
Gunslinger.
Yes.
So How do you guys feel about this? How do you feel about, first of all, what is your opinion on the whole Cobb Vanth thing in the first place? And then second, if it's him appearing in The Mandalorian, let's say instead of Boba Fett.
I think it is too deep of a cut for them to be getting into in a show that is not about Boba Fett.
Right.
I think it is a distraction. I mean, and a lot of this we talked about kind of in the context of with the Tamara Morrison announcement that, hey, Tamara Morrison is going to come and he's going to play Boba Fett. Yes, that's cool, but this really can't be like a long-standing thing because the show is not about him. Now, if they're going to bring in this other character that's wearing Fett's armor, then they have to explain it because not a lot of people read Aftermath or remember those 3 pages that you referenced. It's a very, very confusing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
It is very confusing, and he had a couple of interludes, I think. But yeah, I think it's different when it's a deep cut for somebody like Ahsoka, or something that the movie fans aren't going to recognize the character, but those of us who have kept up with comic books, or Quinlan Vos is a good example. Like you could do something with Quinlan Vos because he was around for long enough. People cared about him. And even though he's a deep cut, he's a meaningful deep cut.
Yeah. This
is like a deep cut that nobody ever really cared about ever in the history of ever.
No, that no one was even on like social media screaming, we want a Vanth story.
No.
But the thing of it is, I mean, they can't do it justice because the story's not about him. So they're going to gloss over it in The Mandalorian, just like they would gloss over it in the book, right? It could be anybody. It could be anything. It doesn't really, you're not going to have time for it.
I think that a lot of it's fan service. If you have something Mandalorian related in Star Wars in live action, there is an expectation that you somehow kind of circled back around to what's come before. And I think there's some fan service obviously going on here at all. And I don't mind them bringing in other Mandalorian references like Bo-Katan. We talked about that last episode. And Sabine. And things like that. Like, I'm okay with them exploring Mandalorian history, Mandalorian culture, and other Mandalorians because it is kind of relevant as long as it doesn't get away from them and become, the Boba Fett reunion story. Now, another recent rumor is that Boba Fett's involvement in season 2 is going to be minuscule. Though, it's also been rumored that he'll be in season 3 as well. I don't know what that means. My expectation is that they are going to, in a follow-up to the Gunslinger episode in some way, maybe this guy's hunting down Din Djarin. Never get the name right. And maybe they're this character's hunting him down, and it looks like Boba Fett, and then surprise, we reveal it's not really Boba Fett, it's an imposter. And so maybe they go that whole route instead, and then we get this reveal at the last minute of Tamara Morrison walking in saying, hey, dude, give me my clothes back.
Yeah, that could be.
And then, riding off into the sunset.
It's just like Tamara Morrison in his boxer shorts.
Right. Little, white boxer shorts, little hearts on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of my prediction.
They say, don't worry, be happy.
Right. What was Jodo Cast, like from Legends, the other bounty hunter that was kind of impersonating Boba Fett. You hired him when you wanted to intimidate someone but couldn't afford Boba. Yeah. Yep. So I'm wondering if it's going to kind of be this fake reveal, like we're thinking it's Boba Fett, then we find out it's not really, but then the real one shows up after. It's like a double plot twist.
Yeah. Or it's some kind of flashback that occurs.
That's another thing people have been. Yeah.
I mean, you can't tease the fact that Boba Fett's going to be in the story and then not have it be really Boba Fett without pissing off everybody.
Yeah.
But that's what Star Wars is good at, Lou, is pissing off everybody.
No. Those are the fans. Those are the fans.
Yeah.
that piss off everybody.
Oh,
they piss off themselves. Yeah. But
I guess it from a certain point of view,
which is a great book, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
It really is. It's a terrific book. We should talk about it.
Why do you guys hate me?
We should.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What's going on the network?
Well, that's a good question. Let's come to that, and then we will head back into some more Disney Plus rumors. We have, as some of you know, because you're watching it right now, we have a new YouTube channel. So for those listening, we do. Well, no, that's not true at all. Again, from a certain point of view, we have a really, really, really old YouTube channel from September of 2016. I just had to go in and clean out some of the old videos in there. We've got an old Outer Rim episode with Lou, Chris McGuffin, and I. And we had an old Jackbox Games episode. And then we had me playing Skyrim, which was an interesting train wreck. So I had to clear those out to make space for, well, not to make space, but, to do some house cleaning for that. So it's an old YouTube episode to get rid of the memories. Yeah. I mean, those episodes still exist. I guess if people want to see them, if you're desperate, let me know and we'll dig them out for you. But randomchatter.com/YouTube, because we like to have all of our links at randomchatter.com/whatever, because then it's easier for you to remember. YouTube.com/randomchatter works fine too, either one. But this is the first of the recordings that you can expect to see up there. We're also doing Random Chatter. Got a little bit of a surprise with what we're doing with Random Chatter moving forward. We'll get to that in the next show. But that is the big network announcement this week, unless you guys have anything I'm forgetting.
Oh, so I have one.
Okay.
Actually, I have a couple. April and Jay Have No Ideas has returned.
Yes, that's true.
And also tomorrow night, the hosts of DC Talk and of Guardians of the MCU are coming together in an epic crossover to celebrate each of our 100th episodes of each of our shows.
Nice.
Wow. I thought it was going to be like a competitive, like throwdown battle royale, match. But yeah. I guess they're doing the whole unity coming together thing instead. You guys are so boring.
There will be probably a cage match. I
was going to say, I'm hoping
enough, I've actually already drafted Carrie on my team. I don't know how that happens, Marvel DC thing, but
but she's from the other team. That's the thing.
It doesn't matter.
You know what? As long as there's blood,
Carrie will ensure that. She will throw people.
Oh, yeah. Yes, she will. All right. So that is the upcoming epic 100th episode of both DC Talk and Guardians of the MCU. Are they going to be separate episodes, or is it one episode that is counting as the 100th of each of the shows?
It is one episode combined that will count as the 100th of each. Our timing has synced up perfectly by a manipulated sheer happenstance. And
without even trying,
making it happen. We're making it happen. So we're going to have some fun with it. We're going to do a little bit of news, just because there still is news on for both shows. So we're going to have some stuff there, especially on the DC side. They have a really big thing.
One really big thing this week.
I think a lot of us weren't even expecting.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to have some fun talking about that, and then we're going to do kind of a big group game thing that we're going to have a good time with. Yeah.
All right. I may have to tune into that. If you wanted to do it live, you could route it through me into the stream, and I could just not be there and just have you guys on the thing. We could work that out. We'll talk. But that's very exciting. What you should do, just for the audience, just to make it more special, you should have Guardians of the MCU, just the left track. DC Talk, just the right track. And then if you want the bonus stereo edition, you have to download both episodes and combine it. It's like a collector's edition, right?
Yeah.
See? That's why you guys keep me around. I've got all the great ideas,
Good job.
All right. Anything else for network news?
No,
I'm good.
All right. Well, don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Random Chatter and at Force Chatter. Join our Discord server, randomchatter.com/Discord. We've got a lot of great stuff going on in there. You can help support the network at randomchatter.com/Patreon. And then finally, as I just mentioned, randomchatter.com/YouTube. And please, you could do us a big favor. and really help support our launch of our YouTube channel by doing a couple of things. Number one, like this video. Even if you've already listened to it and you don't want to watch it again, if you hit our YouTube channel, just hit the little like button anyway. And then subscribe to the YouTube channel, because then you can either get notifications when new episodes are posted, or if you don't like getting those pop-ups in your phone or whatever, you can still subscribe. And then when you go into your subscriptions on your YouTube page, we're right there in the list. Mm-hmm. And as we post new episodes, they appear, right up there in the top of the list as they are posted. So please do that for us. Like and subscribe. I hate saying that. Like all this time I'm watching YouTube, like and subscribe. And I'm like, yeah, get on with the video. And now I have to do it. It's like, it's now weird.
You are one of
creepy. Now I am one of those.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's okay. We love all of you out there. We have a really great supportive community here at the Random Chatter Podcast Network. If you're not a part of it, again, randomchatter.com/Discord is probably the best way to jump right in. A lot of great people out there. And thank you to everybody in the chat room right now, too. We are also streaming twitch.tv/Cinefan, and we're going to assess what the streaming plans are here pretty soon, too. But let's get back into the episode before Lou falls asleep and before Tim has to go. Lou's had a rough day, let me tell you. So, speaking of other Disney Plus rumors, we've talked about Cobb Vanth. We've talked about the casting last episode. Tim is going to be on the show, which is awesome. He's a great guy. If you ever get to go to a convention, go meet him. He's really cool. Very much about the fans. We also have rumors of Hera and Rex, which it would be really awesome to see Tamara Morrison as Rex in live action.
Yeah, it really would.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be sweet.
I would love that. So I'm really hoping that rumor is true. Now, that rumor is not maybe as well vetted as the rumors we talked about last week with the casting, but it's also pretty new. So I imagine over the next week or so, we'll probably get a little bit better confirmation of that coming out. Now, it's not just going to be in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Apparently, they will also be appearing in season 1 of the Ahsoka series, which has been rumored for a long time as well.
Yes.
So
there's a lot of series that are in rumor right now that we don't have any real details on.
That's very true.
There's also rumor of Ahsoka appearing in season 1 of the Obi-Wan series.
That is also true.
Kind of like co-mingling and hanging out. They're actually sitting around a campfire, all of them, on Tatooine together. Hera and Rex and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and the Mandalorian. They're just there. They're roasting marshmallows. They're telling stories. They're having a hell of a good time.
Yeah, I'm wondering what they're throwing in that fire there. Ahsoka's like, wait, and then like we could appear in the Chewbacca solo series too, like just to show up. Like they're all just like brainstorming different places they can be. It's like their agent is on cocaine or something. Like just
And Obi-Wan's like, hey, the fire's getting low. Let's throw another Jawa on.
Yeah, there you go.
It's got to be good for something. Catches fire. Does he reminisce about Anakin or?
That smells faintly like Anakin.
That's so wrong. Like burnt leather. Sorry, I'm having flashbacks to that Robot Chicken episode where Darth Vader calls Palpatine on the phone after the Death Star blows up. Yeah. Okay. So seriously though, there is one other rumored project, and I don't know how I feel about this one, and that is that there is some sort of a Boba Fett spin-off project. And there's rumor that it may be a movie. It's going straight to Disney Plus. There's rumor that it might be a movie. There's rumor that it might be a limited series, like just 4 episodes, kind of like the Obi-Wan thing is supposed to be.
Wait a minute.
Looking at all of these things.
Hang on. This rumor was around like 4 years ago.
It is coming back from some sources that broke different things that actually happened early. So these are sources that have a proven track record, yet they don't have a lot of information on this one. So, I mean, it makes sense. Boba Fett is a massively popular property for Lucasfilm. They were going to do something with it early on. Like, he was a priority. And then the thing with Josh Trank fell apart. They're going to bring the project back at some point in some form. And we all thought that project might be The Mandalorian. But The Mandalorian, as you said, Lou, has kind of his own legs.
Yep.
And even though I think they're using that to spin off more things, which is both good and bad, and I want to come back to that, it makes sense that they're going to try to push to bring Boba Fett back.
I mean, I know it makes sense to do that as far as, hey, it's a property you own, it's a popular character.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the need for it. I don't want to see them ruin this character. We all love Boba Fett. He's a very, polarizing character, I guess you'd say, because everybody wants to see it. Everybody wants to hear more about him. But at the same time, a lot of us don't want to have any more information about him because he's mysterious. He's this shadowy figure that operates in the background that we know is just a real badass. But, you start taking the peel and the layers away, and now it's like, well, okay, now he's just a guy, and he does this, he does that.
What if it were just like a heist movie? Like, what if it were a mission, and that's it? Not backstory, not character building.
I'd be okay with that then. Yeah, because then you're not delving into the character. You're not giving us any more detail about, like Tim always likes to say, how the sausage is made.
Right.
We're getting just, him being a badass in one episode or one movie or one story.
Without getting Boba Fett sausage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I could be down with that. It's this weird kind of inner conflict that I have because I absolutely love the character of Boba Fett. And sure, I'd love to see more of him kind of between the Clone Wars period and when we first saw him in the original trilogy. But I also, I don't know. It's one of those things that, like, okay, so many people love Boba Fett, and yes, he's a fan favorite. So, like, kind of part of me, and not to poo-poo it as a fan favorite, but it's like it's a bandwagon kind of thing, and everyone's on it, and it's like then that just kind of makes me want to withdraw and say, well, okay, yeah, cool character, but there's a lot of other things that we can see, and clearly, I mean, they have developed characters like the Mandalorian, like Ahsoka, like Hera and the folks in Rebels and that, like Dr. Aphra, that kind of thing. They've developed so many new characters that really, do we have to go back to Boba Fett?
Well, so we're also getting, let's look at the rumors of what we have so far too, because I think another question is, are we getting too much, or is this the right focus for Lucasfilm to have, steering things toward TV and away from movies? And not that those two things are mutually exclusive either, but so we've got The Mandalorian. We don't currently have any animated announcement.
Correct.
I don't think, though there is supposed to be not a Rebels sequel, but a continuation of something of that has been rumored to be animated. But I think what is happening instead is we're getting the live action Ahsoka series, which I think is going to follow Rebels story-wise. We've got the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. We are allegedly getting some sort of a Dr. Aphra project. And now we're allegedly getting a Boba Fett project. Is all of, number one, is all of this too much? Are we going to hit oversaturation with television now as opposed to film? Number two, is it better to focus on the film stuff as opposed to the movie stuff? And number three, there is something to be said for taking one successful property and then introducing characters and things that you can then spin off into other things, almost as a test to see how the audience responds to them. And if they do well, you start their own thing. NCIS did it with NCIS Los Angeles. Various other shows have done it with various things. It makes sense for Star Wars to do it, but is it too much? Like, what do you guys think?
Well, go ahead, Lou.
I was going to say, I mean, I find it funny that we're talking about this now about how we may have an oversaturation of television, and we said we had that with movies. And I didn't even believe that we had that with movies. I think the movie thing went a different direction because there's been so much controversy over, who did what, whose cut was this, who wanted to direct that, what the plan was, and that all fell apart. We kind of already hashed that out many times. I worry about the oversaturation of television because it's not as discreet as a movie. A movie is a one-off shot. It happens. It's done, right?
Yeah.
A television series, if you've got a couple different things going and you're diluting your properties across 3 or 4 different titles, then, are you sharing the same production resources? Are you sharing the same stages? Are you sharing the same design team and stuff? Does that water things down a little bit? Does it make so that you don't have a good core team for one? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions in my mind about that. But I kind of wish we'd get away from this timeline and go to a different, focus on characters that aren't part of the original story. That aren't part of the original trilogy. I mean, that's why I'm not a big fan of having a Boba Fett story going forward. I'm not a huge fan of having an Obi-Wan series going forward. I'll watch them, certainly, and I'm sure I will enjoy them. But, the Ahsoka thing interests me way more than those two do because it's new content. It's a different character that we haven't explored as much as those other ones.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having anything that's going forward consistently and a group of projects that are tied together that are moving forward. I hate that the books bounce back and forth all over the place like a yo-yo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't care if that continuity is post episode 9 or not. I just want just pick a point and let's do an era. Let's do ongoing content there where I can invest in those characters, in what's going on. I can focus on it and know that I'm getting more content instead of just a one shot.
Basically parallel stories, you're saying.
Right.
Because you have a lot of different people, characters, entities existing in the same time period, doing different things in different places, and you can explore the same central core story from so many different perspectives.
And that's why I don't mind so much that this is all taking place in that time period. It's not focusing on the Skywalkers.
Right.
So to me, it still feels new-ish. Mm-hmm. It's still after Return of the Jedi. So for me, that was the end of Star Wars for like decades and until just recently. So it still feels like it's going somewhere that we haven't gone before. But it's still linked together as well. The Kenobi thing maybe being the exception. But
does it worry you, though, that we're going to be bumping up against a storyline that we already have? In
Not
that
really.
Same time period. No? See,
only because we don't really... Only because there's separation there from the Skywalker saga and all of this other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Boba Fett, Din Djarin, Ahsoka, Sabine, Thrawn, all of that kind of stuff can happen in the unknown regions. It can happen in a different part of space. It has nothing to do with the events of Episode 7.
Yeah. So there's a few things that I have here, and I do want to bring up a point that my lovely wife brought up in the chat room, saying, "Isn't TV a perfect venue to explore backstories and tangents that are too detailed for movies?"
Because we have more time.
TV, when you have something that's episodic, when it's a series, you can explore character so much more than they can in film.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's definitely a bonus. I think also this whole discussion goes very much hand in hand with what we've been talking about a lot lately on Random Chatter and on other shows about the future of cinema and how there's this interplay with streaming services and kind of TV as a whole. And that, there doesn't necessarily need to be it's not a one or the other. They can both exist. And they both have their pros, they both have their cons. I think that doing things on something like Disney Plus makes it so incredibly accessible. We get a lot of story. I think there's a lot of really great stuff that can come from that. And so I'm excited to see them do this. And there is, to your point, Lou, about them like sharing resources and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Because there's an economy of scale for this. And I think that they do have to share a lot of those resources. But I think that's going to be in like, hey, this show used a certain set 2 seasons ago, and so we still have it and we can use it. So I don't.
Which actually ties into our next story.
It does quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be this like direct competition, I don't think, for the same resources, because they're all going to have their own sets of writers and directors and all that kind of stuff. And maybe we're going to have like a Dave Filoni, maybe it is going to be Dave, who's going to kind of like be overseeing things, kind of like he has with animation, like this, like Uber showrunner, like a Kevin Feige type again, but for TV and instead of movies, just to kind of make sure that if we are playing in the same timeline, doing parallel stories in the same time, or even if it's subsequent, that things are lining up the way that they should be.
Right.
And that we're not doing things that something that might be really cool to do in one show screws another show over completely.
Yeah. All right. We're going to move along a little bit because Tim does have to get out of here. And I want to get to our next big story, which is this last episode of Disney Gallery, where they focus on the tech for The Mandalorian. If you're not watching this series, you really need to be. Even if you don't watch The Mandalorian, I mean, there are some spoilers in there, but this last episode, they finally talk about that big video wall, which apparently is called, is it the volume?
Well, the volume was a reference that they made to the episode from The Mandalorian. Okay.
So they go into detail about the Epic Gaming engine that they're using and what this new technology lets them do. And it is absolutely incredible.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is. Like, I would love to be there on that set.
Just the use of light and shadow and the ability to have virtual cameras. I mean, I think it's game changing. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, people underestimate. So I'm using a green screen here. And
I'm sorry, you're right. The volume is the term that they're using for this set.
That's what I thought, which is a weird name for it. But, who am I to complain? I mean, they can call it whatever they want. They can call it Bugs Bunny for all I care, as long as it does what it does.
Now that's a Warner Brothers copyright. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm probably already getting sued just for saying that just now. With green screen and blue screen, it's really difficult because I have a green screen thing set up here right now, and I've got all kinds of lighting in different positions and stuff, and I'm still doing it wrong. And then, how well is the screen behind me lit as opposed to how I'm lit? And then it's great in the sense that you can do a lot of stuff after the fact, but if the characters are lit differently than your CG composites, then it gets weird. And then if you have a lighting source coming from somewhere in the CG work, but then that lighting source isn't coming from the same direction on the actor, you're limited as far as what you can do after the fact. And like Jon Favreau was talking about, was it The Lion King? He wanted to change angles on something. And, they had some limitations regarding that. In this, they can do it right there on the spot.
Yeah.
And the light is actually coming from the screens on the actors, and even top-down light because the ceiling is a video screen.
Yeah. And it was incredible to hear, you have your most seasoned actor who's involved in this, Carl Weathers, and to hear him talk about this. I mean, obviously he's been on a ton of movie sets and he's done a ton of things. And for him to say that this was so incredibly immersive for him, more than any other experience ever, that sure, you can be on a soundstage, you can be on a set, but there's always so much artificiality around you. And really the only thing that's in the set is solely what's in the frame of the camera. Everything outside of that is just BS. It's just empty space. There's nothing there. And to hear him talking, so much of it was about that they were talking about was the last episode of The Mandalorian, the season finale, when they're in this tunnel with the river of lava. And he's just we're in there, and on most sets, I have to imagine. He's like, I have to imagine what's going on. So part of my brain is creating this visual around me so I can immerse myself in it. And then I'm having to deal with the characters and the interactions, basically, the acting overall.
Right.
And he's like, for this, not only does this have me not have to think about it, this further immerses me in my own character and the area that we're in, because it's there, it's real. Plus they're bringing in physical set pieces into it to add depth and dimension and interaction and that kind of stuff. It's they were showing, here's the panorama of Tatooine, and then here's giant boulders, which were actual real physical things, and the ground was sand. And I was absolutely blown. I mean, this is next level filmmaking.
When you could take a boulder
film,
and say,
TV, whatever, it's next level production.
We wanted a little over to the left, and the guy with the iPad just like taps on the boulder and drags it, and you see on the wall this boulder just moving across the background. Yeah. It's just phenomenal. And from the actor's point of view, if you compare the work on episode 2 is the example I always go back to with Ewan McGregor talking about being on this green screen set where they've got green boxes and green platforms and green things and guys in green costumes. And then George Lucas standing there saying, okay, now duck, now jump, now go to your left. Yeah. And Ewan McGregor used to complain. He said, like, I feel like I'm not acting. I'm like doing a dance choreography where I'm learning the moves live, and it's not like, it doesn't count. There's something to act off of, compared to Gina Carano talking about the fact that she's in this closed room and they're traveling down this lava river and she's getting motion sickness.
Yeah. Right. And they're like, we were afraid to touch the lava.
Right.
Like it was that real to them. It's so incredible.
Yeah. And I
was so excited about watching this episode.
Yeah. It helps them act better. I mean, I keep thinking back to the behind the scenes stuff for Alan Tudyk when he's talking about playing K2SO. He's like, I had a backpack with a stick sticking out in the head. And he's like, this was ILM. He's like, what, this is the best part of technology out there.
Hey, those weren't sticks. Those were PVC tubes. I mean, they used the high tech stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, you think about how much we've just gone from there to here. That wasn't that long ago.
Right.
This is incredible stuff.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, check out that episode. It is mind blowing. It is truly, it's awesome. The whole series has been great, but really that episode that cinched it. Like, that was worth it beyond any of the others.
Yeah. I mean, they've had episodes on the directors and on the cast and characters and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And they've all been fantastic. But this is the one that like really, really held my attention so much. And I mean, I'm going to go watch it again because it's that good. And so much of this is like, oh, okay, you get this cool little documentary. Yeah, I get to see how the sausage is made, and that's pretty cool. No, this is one to go back to. Because I know that there's stuff that I probably missed, and like it was that big.
The thing that pisses me off about this, though, and I will say that it does piss me off, that we're getting this for The Mandalorian. We should be getting this for the movies, for everything we've been. It's like, come on, you got to make sure you get the rest of this stuff out for the next movies we do.
Which makes me wonder who is in charge of making the decisions about us getting this stuff. Was it Jon Favreau that pushed to get this to series? The Disney Gallery thing. Was it Disney saying, hey, we want content for Disney Plus. Kathleen, what can you give us? Was it Kathleen Kennedy deciding we want to go with this, but we don't want to deal with the mess from the fans' perspective of the movies? Or was it Dave Filoni? Like, who was it that made the decision to bring this behind the scenes series to light? And it kind of makes me wonder, we talked a few episodes back in what I hope wasn't too negative an episode about kind of what's going on with the leadership at Lucasfilm. I'm wondering if Dave Filoni is kind of steering things along this. And Kathleen Kennedy's obviously giving her blessing. She's appeared in every one of the episodes. And I have no doubt she's totally on board with it. But I'm wondering if this is Dave's vision pushing this. Is it Kathleen's vision pushing it, or is it Disney's?
The impression I had just from watching it, and I haven't seen anything other than what you guys already seen, but I have a feeling it's Filoni and Favreau together, pushing this forward.
Yeah, I mean, for the show itself, the show is it's branded for Disney. It's Disney Gallery, so clearly they have an intent. Yeah, at least from what we see from this first season covering The Mandalorian, is that they're going to give us other behind the scenes stuff across all of their properties.
Marvel, especially.
I would love to see stuff from Marvel and Nat Geo, and I mean, there could be like some really incredible content that they're doing there. Clearly, starting off with The Mandalorian, which has been, I haven't seen statistics, but it has to have been the #1 watch thing on Disney Plus since Disney Plus.
It's their cash cow.
So, yeah, it absolutely is. And this also, the timing of it is great because it keeps people on until the next thing comes. I mean, yes, they had season 7 of the Clone Wars. This is something else that kind of it keeps it going until something Marvel will come on, and then something Star Wars will come on, and all that. So it's definitely good. In terms of it's really funny, because then talking back about the tech part of this again, Jon Favreau was clearly pushing a lot of this, because like he was talking about, hey, here's a little bit of a thing that we did in Jungle Book, then here's a little bit of a thing that we did in Lion King.
And I loved how specific he was.
Oh yeah. And here's a little thing that we did in Iron Man. And in Iron Man, he actually did some work with Dave Filoni, because they were working at Lucasfilm together, and that's how Favreau got pulled into the Clone Wars, right, and all that. And then it's funny, because they do kind of this cut to this discussion with George Lucas on the set of The Mandalorian, and he's basically like, yeah, this is cool. I was going to do this 20 years ago, but we just didn't have the technology for it. So it just shows once again how much of a freaking visionary George is. And this continued tie-in with Lucasfilm is fantastic, because they are still, even with George not really involved, I mean, him walking on a scene is an involvement, they are still pushing the envelope of technology in film and TV production, and it's freaking awesome, and it's mind-blowing, and it's amazing. Well,
we need to wrap up, so I'm going to kind of lightning around through the last things in the episode here, because I know Tim's got another call he's got to get to. 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Good time to rewatch it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of
so speaking of technology, I mean, so much cool stuff came out of Empire Strikes Back that just like continued to build on what we saw in A New Hope. And some of the stuff in A New Hope was a little cheesy, but it's so cool that just a few years later, you see this incredible evolution of filmmaking and technology from episode 4 to episode 5.
And also story-wise too, because this is the first time, at least in my recollection, that we really got, I don't know when the Godfather stuff came out, but for the most part, we really got sequels and an ongoing story in filmmaking. Like this is a big deal, and it's defined the industry. And it was Empire Strikes Back that did that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there were definitely sequels before it. I mean, even going back into the 30s and 40s,
but not in the same way.
Such a big impact. Yeah. I mean, this was done in such a different way, and so big, it was really impactful to the entire industry.
Yeah. So now is a good time to rewatch if you haven't seen it in a long time. There are actually some rewatch parties going on all over the place. Really, I saw one with Sam Witwer and a few other people recently. Do some searching around. I would even be willing to join one if anybody were interested. I'd set one up here if anybody wants to. But what else do we have here? Lucasfilm winning big at the Webby Awards. I know the Star Wars show. They consistently win awards, and they've won some more. The Star Wars app. Social Channels won the Webby and People's Voice for Social for TV and film. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, they do their Twitter and Instagram, which I both pay attention to, are always fantastic. They're putting up a lot of great stuff. The app is great, and I got to say, actually, I haven't been on the app in a while, but that's another thing that has pushed a lot of things. I mean, they've done a lot of AR stuff in there, and things that we haven't really seen mainstream in a lot of other ways.
Yeah. Tim, you're going to have to take this one from me. Ken Nightingale? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah. So folks probably don't know the name of Ken Nightingale, but they probably are familiar with him as the Pink Shorts audio boom guy from episode 4. He was, they were out in the desert in Tunisia. He wasn't wearing a short. He was just wearing these like little pink shorts that, the small shorts that they wore in the 70s. They were bright pink, and and of course people cosplay as him at Celebration and stuff. He passed at age 92. So that's a bit of a sad thing. Swinging to the other side, a great thing, especially in our community. Tom, who co-hosts with me over on Dispatches. He's been on Echo Base. He just got approved by the 501st Legion for his Captain Rex.
Excellent.
So, congratulations.
Congratulations, Tom.
Yeah.
Good job. Now, I just have to bribe somebody into making me something. Not pink shorts, because you really don't want to see that.
Eric, you could do a great pink shorts
really
boom guy.
Don't know. No, something that the 501st would approve, or Mando Mercs or Rebel Legion or something. But all right, well, that's actually going to do it for this episode of
an honorary CRL.
Make me an honorary anything at this point. I would just it's an honor just to be honored. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Echo Base. Again, don't forget to check us out on YouTube, randomchatter.com/YouTube, randomchatter.com/Discord/store for merchandise, /Patreon to help support the network. Lots of things. Lots of stuff. And most importantly, go to randomchatter.com just for a great lineup of a lot of wonderful podcasts that we are happy to bring to you out there. And we're happy you're listening, and we can't wait to come back next week with more great content for you guys. So until then, stay safe, take care of one another. Wow, I'm kind of butchering the ending here, but we will see you again in a week. Take care.